Welcome into the Joy to the World podcast, the show that celebrates the good in humanity and highlights those who bring joy to their world. Now give it up for your host, Joy.
All right, so today I'm here with Vicki Vicari.
Vicari, but it's okay. It's all right.
With Indiana Fallen Heroes. So, I don't know, I'm just bringing you here for you to be able to tell the story about the Indiana Fallen Heroes and how you got into it.
Okay. Oh boy. So this is a long one. The Indiana Fallen Heroes originally began out of Boon Grove Middle School.
I didn't even know that.
Yes. So the principal of Boon Grove had gone to Michigan to spend 4th of July weekend with his mom. And he gets to Michigan and his mom says, "We're going to walk in a parade." Well, he was a former band director, band teacher, and had walked in his share of parades. And he said, "I'm not walking in a parade. Those are over." And his mom's like, "Well, no, we're going to walk in the parade." So she kept on and she kept on and she kept on. And finally, to shut her up, he decided, listen,
I'll do it.
I'll just pick my battles, and this isn't one of them. So they went to the parade, and they were walking with the Michigan Fallen Heroes, which he had never heard of. So they had, the organizer started lining people up, handed him the signs. We call them placards. It's a 24 by 36 sign, coroplast, with the information on it. So handed him the placard, and they proceeded to walk in this parade. So little did he know that I guess I need to back up. The placards have
What's on the placard?
What's on a placard, yeah. The placards represent those who have lost their lives while in service or as a result of their service, fighting the war on terror. So they contain a photo and then a biography about the person. Typically their name, their hometown, their age, their date of passing, and then just a little bit about them. Maybe something that would have been pulled off of an obituary or from a family member. So he is carrying this placard, and he's walking in the parade with all these other people. And the result of what he felt from the crowd, the people, he said, was just unbelievable. And it is unbelievable.
Well, just watching it in the little Labor Day parade is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. So he came back. He was very touched by this. He came back to school in the fall, and he got a hold of their National Junior Honor Society members, and he started telling them this story. And he said, "Hey, I want to do this. We need to do this here." So these 7th and 8th graders started looking through local obituaries and gathering information. They figured out how to fund this. He was the principal. I'm sure he helped fund it personally. And then they made the placards. They had, I think, just under 100 of them. So it's since 9/11, they had about 100, and they started doing some events. They did 3 events a year. They did a Memorial Day event, a Labor Day, and something else, and I don't recall exactly what they were. So they did it for a year or two, and then he decided that he had heard about the Lowell Labor Day Parade and how big it was, and so they wanted to bring the project here. So they filled out the application through the town of Lowell, and they got approved to be in it. So I'm going to jump around a little bit.
I play squirrel all the time.
Okay, perfect.
Let's do it.
As to what how I got roped into this, for lack of a better word. In 2011, my nephew was killed in Afghanistan. So my nephew's great aunt on the other side of the family is Sue Peterson, who worked at the town,
Yes.
who is fantastic.
And who was a part of the parade.
And she
all
was
the
a
time.
part of the parade.
Amazing part of the parade.
I love Sue to death. Love her to death. So Sue told me, hey, this group is coming and they're going to walk in the parade. Okay. Now, I knew that I would not be able to sit out here on Commercial Avenue and just have this come at me and be blindsided by it. So I went down to the high school where they lined up that morning, and I thought to myself, like, okay, if I'm here and I see it before it happens, I'm going to be okay. Like, I just got to wrap my head around this. So I go down to the high school and I find the guy who's in charge. His name was Paul, and I introduce myself. And he says, oh, I know exactly who you are. Okay, why do you know exactly who I am? And he says, we have been trying to take this where there was somebody that people could identify with. So I know about your nephew. I've seen things that you've done as far as when that all happened, the family needed somebody to be the liaison for the media. And that was me, because anybody that knows me knows I have a big mouth.
You and I do not have a big mouth. We just enjoy laughing.
I have a big mouth. And so I was the person who handled the stuff, which is kind of my job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I see all these placards, and there's a placard with my nephew. And it got me. It kicked me in the feels for sure. So he says, well, do you want to walk with us? Absolutely not. No, thank you. No, I'm good. I will. Heck no. So I knew there'd be no way that I would be able to walk in this town, knowing as many people as I know. No thanks. So I came back home, sat in my lawn chair, waiting for this to come through the parade. I will tell you that I have no idea who else participated in the parade that year, because I was so preoccupied and nervous waiting for this. And then here it came. And then I was a blubbering idiot. Like, it was unbelievable to me to see this coming down the street. So the following weekend was Popcorn Fest parade in Valpo.
Yes.
So I had talked with Paul again, and he says, blah, 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 if you want to come out to Popcorn Fest. And I thought, I could probably do that. I've seen it now, and no big deal. I can do this. And I don't know anybody in Valpo. I mean, I probably know somebody, but, not like here. So no big deal. So go to Valpo, and they hand me Augie's placard, and I'm fine. And we start walking, and we turn the corner, like to really start walking in this parade. Now, it is 95 and humid, and I am not in the best of shape when it comes to walking. Like, I walk from my house to the car. I'm not a walker, and it's hot, and it's humid, and I don't like hot. And I'm walking, and now there are people standing all along this parade route, and some are clapping, and some have their hand on their hearts, and some are saluting, and some are crying. And I am just taken over by the emotions that I'm feeling. Again, it's 95, it's humid, I can't breathe, and now I'm crying, and I'm ugly crying, and I'm like, because
This is how I feel every single time.
It's hot, and it's like so overwhelming. And I'm not crying because I'm carrying this, and I'm not crying about Augie. I'm watching these people's reactions, which are unbelievable. So the difference from Monday, the Labor Day parade, to Saturday, the Popcorn Fest parade, two different sets of emotions. One set watching it, and another set participating. So we do the whole parade. Everything
and the
is fine.
appreciation from the crowd.
It's unbelievable. The reaction from the people, unbelievable. So about a year and a half goes by, or a year goes by, and myself and another family who had lost a nephew in Afghanistan about 6 months after Augie, a very dear friend of ours got a hold of us, and he says, hey, they need somebody to take over the Indiana Fallen Heroes. Paul, who was in charge of it, not to be confused with Paul, our Paul, who's part of it now.
Yeah,
different
not Paul
Paul.
Rosenwinkel.
Right, different Paul. He's moving to Ohio. And he doesn't want this to just end, but he doesn't know what to do with it. He doesn't know what to do with it. So this guy, his name was Dale. He's no longer with us. He sadly passed. He is an amazing man. Dale's like, well, I know some people. So we met him at Dairy Queen here in town, and he starts telling us all this. And it's Paul and Debbie Rosenwinkel. Their nephew, Brian, passed away in January of 2012, and myself. So we're sitting at Dairy Queen, and Dale, everybody called him Doc. Dale's like, hey, yeah.
Oh, that's
how all this got,
okay,
right? Does that make
Doc
sense?
just passed away
He
not
did.
that long ago.
He did.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So Doc's
now this
like,
kind of makes sense.
Hey, blah, 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 blah. This guy's moving to Ohio. He doesn't want these to end up in some closet somewhere that nobody does anything. Do you guys want to take it over? And we are immediately, no. We're not worthy.
Which is a funny story now, considering how deep you are into this.
So in my head, most often, and anybody who knows me well will tell you that in my head, people say to me, hey, can you do, I don't care what it is. And in my brain, I am thinking, no, absolutely not. I am not doing that. And then I open my mouth and the words, of course, I would love to help come out. Yeah. Now, there's a disconnect between here and here.
Yep.
It happens all the time. So we're all like, no, we're not worthy. Like, we are not, no, this needs to go to somebody else. And he said, there's nobody else. So we all kind of look at each other like, damn it. Well, I guess so. So, okay, we're going to take it over. So we make arrangements. We get the placards. We start looking at this. I think there were, I don't know, maybe 87, 93, something like that. Just under 100. And we start looking at this and realizing how many there aren't.
Right. Because you know how many are in Indiana.
And this is just Indiana. So we start looking through, same thing, obituaries, and we start figuring out where we're going to do this. Now, they did 3 events. Now I remember the 3 events. They did a parade in South Bend on Memorial Day weekend. They did Popcorn Fest, and they did Lowell Labor Day Parade. They might have thrown in an extra one in the middle, like June or July. So 3 or 4 events a year. So we start thinking, and we're going to figure this out, and what are we going to do, and this and that. Because now the thing is that you have 100 of these signs, which means you need 100 volunteers to do a parade. So, but now the numbers are growing because we're finding more. And then we do an event and somebody would come up and say, hey, do you have so-and-so? Oh, well, they passed away. We didn't know that. So we're collecting names. We're collecting information. Then we also decided not only were we going to include those who had lost their lives while in service, but those who have sadly taken their lives as a result of their service. And that is when our numbers went crazy. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that. I can honestly say that whether a life is lost in service or as a result of, situations like this either bring families together or tear them apart.
We both know that.
Very, very difficult. Everybody grieves differently.
And we can't tell them.
You can't
how to
tell
grieve.
people how to grieve. We all grieve differently. And because of that, people think the other ones are ridiculous. I mean,
But they truly do believe that. Like, how could you do that? Or
how could you do this? Or
like
how
that?
could you feel that way? Or how could you not participate?
Yeah.
Or how could you not want? It's a horrible, horrible thing.
But grief is you cannot tell anybody how to grieve and when to grieve.
No.
And they grieve at different times
And
in different ways.
There are different stages of it.
Yes.
And I had somebody who was very close to me, probably 6 months after Augie had passed, tell me, you just need to get over it.
We talked about this a few times.
You're never going to get over it. And honestly, I feel, and people might think I'm crazy, I think your bigger problem is when you do get over it. When it doesn't matter anymore, you've forgotten about it. So that's when it's the bigger issue, not the fact that you remember and not the fact that it still affects you.
You don't want to lose their memory.
And it's not just with somebody who's passed as a result of war. Everybody's lost somebody. We've all lost a friend, a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, a whatever. We've all lost somebody. And it can be decades that pass. And all of a sudden, something in your brain kicks in. And for some reason, there they are. A song on the radio, a TV show.
A smell.
Just something. So in my mind, when we quit remembering them, that's when there's a bigger issue. When it doesn't hurt a little bit or a lot, that's when there's a bigger issue. Now, yes, we all have to move forward and we all have to continue to live. And they say that time heals all. I don't believe that for a second. I think time just gives us the tools to figure out how to deal with the new normal, whatever that is. So we start collecting these names, and now we figure out that we need, 250 people to walk in a parade. And then we start doing freestanding displays. So we take, the metal, the little wire yard sale stakes, and we put them in the bottom of the coroplast, and we're setting them up at different things. And it is taking us hours. I mean, legitimately hours. And at this time, it's Paul and Debbie and I. There are 3 of us. And we just are like, this is crazy. It's insane. So then Debbie's brother and sister-in-law are going to join us and help us. And then another family member of somebody who had passed, she's no longer a board member. She moved out of state. So we went from 3 to 6. And it was amazing because we had all this extra help, but it still would take us days and days and hours and hours and hours to figure things out. So we started working on different ways to do this. And we came up with the system that we now have today.
Which is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And plus too, I'm just speaking from my end, like when I was judging the parade and things, it makes it go smoother for you guys.
It does. So,
and you have to tell them like who does it for you now, like who walks the parade for you now.
So, right. And I was just going to go there. So here in Lowell, we have thankfully, knock on wood.
Pretend wood.
Fake wood. Knock on fake wood. We have never had a problem with volunteers. I get on our local Facebook pages. We all know I have a big mouth. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. And I just start asking for help. For a period of my life, I worked at the high school. And so I was very fortunate to know all of our coaches at the high school. And I reached out to Keith Kilmer and said, hey, any interest in walking with us, having boys from the football team? He's like, absolutely. We have had other teams from the high school join us. We've had the cheerleaders join us. We've had basketball teams. We've had track. We've had 1 year, not only did the high school, now the middle school boys also walk with the middle school football. We've had Pop Warner. We've had local Boy Scout and Cub Scout groups, Girl Scouts, churches. Now, people always ask me, well, do you have too many volunteers? Now, in my mind, there's no such thing as too many volunteers, ever. So we got to a point where we needed 400 volunteers, which is insane because of the way we did it. Now we've added a couple more board members. There's 7 of us total. And out of the 7, one is 6 of us are Gold Star family members. And a Gold Star family member is somebody who has lost somebody in service or as a result of. And then the other gentleman he's a veteran. So we have 7 on our board. But what we do now is we came up with the rails. So it's a long rail. It holds 5 of our placards. And they have, they can be single-sided or double-sided. So for parades, we always did them single-sided. And you would have 2 people carrying 5 instead of 5 people carrying 5. So cut our math down a ton.
Tremendously.
It was great. This past year, we were at a freestanding event where we have it's just a display where people come to whatever and they can just walk through the aisles of the placards. And I said, hey, you guys, instead of carrying them down the street, so if the street, if the street were this way, here's the road, instead of carrying them down the street this way, why don't we leave them double side and do it this way? So the faces are facing the crowd.
Correct.
And
that was this year.
That was this past year, last year, I guess. And because we are in a new year.
Yeah.
It's May. I guess I should get on board here. And it worked, I thought, so much better because the faces were facing the crowd. And I had so many people tell me, I've watched this for years and I felt different this year. Yeah. Because when you're staring back into somebody's eyes and you're seeing these faces and you can connect a face with a name and you see the ages of them, so many of them are so
When I
young.
saw them this year, they were reading them. So they were reading the name and say, oh, I didn't know, or that person was from that town or whatever. It was, I just heard them saying the names out loud more.
Yes. Because they can see them.
Yeah.
Instead of everybody walking and they're kind of bunched up and you really can't, you get a quick glimpse. I did have a few people say it seemed like it just went on forever. Well, because it did. It's the same amount. It's just the way we've displayed them. But now with the rails, we're down to we need 73 people, which is amazing. But I don't want people to think, oh, they only need 70 people. I'm not going to do it.
No, because if anybody wants to participate, go participate. Because if it makes them feel good, go walk with you guys.
And in my mind, it makes you as a human feel good. And I'll talk more about that in a second. But how awesome would it be to have this display and 500, 1,000, 3,000 people walking to support it? Mm-hmm. I think it's fantastic. We have American flags, so we have people carrying flags as well. It's really touching.
It's more than touching because we all cry through the whole thing.
I know. And you think after you see it once, you're like, meh. And there are days, most of the time now, it'll be 14 years this year that he passed. Most days I'm fine. A lot of days I'm not. And there's times that we'll be in an event and it's okay. And other days it's just it kicks you in the feels. This past weekend, we did a display at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the back mile. It's called the Gold Mile, and it's for the mini marathon.
And isn't that crazy that you guys are that big now that you're there?
Mm-hmm. And we've done this six years. This is, I think, year 6 that we did it. Of course, we were off a couple years because of COVID. They didn't have the race. But I've had people who've run that race tell me when they come around the corner on that track and there's the rails all set up all the way down for 3/4 of a mile, that the impact. Saturday we're sitting there and one of the runners just stopped and went over to a placard, obviously somebody he knew. And he took a minute, and that gets you. That's what gets you. For me and for those on our board, it's really been a healing tool for us. And it's been a healing tool for a lot of other families. Now, there are some families that want nothing to do with this, and that's okay. They're prerogative.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever. It's really been a good thing. It's a lot. It's a lot of work, though. People just think, oh, well, this is so nice. It really is nice, but man, we could use some help.
So that's another thing. I mean, like, so I know you guys got a new trailer when not, well, it wasn't new, but it was somebody was kind enough to help you with the trailer.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say, but I'm going to say, and if I get somebody in trouble, then, oh, I'm so sorry. We have been very fortunate that Family Express has been very generous with us in helping us with obtaining trailers, graphics, stuff like that. So if
Which is awesome.
if I just got somebody in trouble, I apologize.
But then how can how can the regular community help you guys? Like, how can somebody donate money? Because here's one thing. I mean, you guys help us with like just you guys need new flags all the time because you're going through flags because they're out and about all the time, so they're getting worn. So you guys are always needing new flags. You need the materials for the new placards. You need all kinds of things. So like, how can somebody donate to you guys to help that? Because then also too, as you acquire more people then you're going to need more placards.
Correct.
Because I know before you've donated your time and efforts to use flags for us to help things like when we did for Colleen Schultz, cop cycling for survivors, things like that. So I know how many flags we've used of yours.
So
or gas. Oh my gosh, you guys are traveling all over. The wear and tear on vehicles,
the wear and tear on vehicles, and the
trailer.
trailer and all of that. So we the flag thing. Let's address that. We are fortunate enough that most of our board members are also members of the Indiana Patriot Guard. And Paul Rosenwinkel will come talk to you about that.
Yep.
And he can tell you a million more things about it than I can.
Yep, and he'll be here next Tuesday.
And what I can tell you is that I never knew the Indiana Patriot Guard existed until Augie passed away.
And what a great organization.
And
holy moly. Holy Moses.
So here's all these strangers who show up.
Open the door for you.
Open doors at funeral homes for people to come in.
Set up flags outside.
There's flags outside. What do you need? What can we help you with? One of the most touching things that they did was two things. Two of the touching things they did. The day of the funeral, as anybody can imagine, emotions are running super high, like crazy. We walk out the side door at Sheets Funeral Home, and here are these Patriot Guard members standing almost like a wall to give us, the family, some privacy. Because from the moment we found out that he had passed, it's news. I mean, it is news, and I get it. But some of the news stations are ruthless. There's cameras in your face.
And they don't care about privacy.
They want interviews. And they're asking you questions that are absolutely, how do you feel about this? Come on, yo. How do you think I feel? Like,
right.
So there's this human wall at Sheets Funeral Home so that the casket comes out, it goes into the car to go to the church because his service was at Holy Name in Cedar Lake. And so, okay, wow, that was kind of nice. Thank you. So we have the funeral mass. We're out at the cemetery behind Holy Name. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this reporter with a camera, with a lens. I'm not kidding you. That's like this long. Like, he picks up this camera lens, like, and I can just, like, in my peripheral vision, see this. And our, you're assigned a casualty assistance officer. Our casualty assistance officer sees me and gives me the whole, like, stop. You just stay where you are. But the next thing I notice is that there are Patriot Guard members who have flags, and they form a wall so that we have the privacy. Because I get that it's public, it's news. It's sadly, it's news. But we don't want to see us crying on the news. Like, we don't need to see all that. So the Patriot Guard members, back to where this went, they are the most amazing people.
Which I'm glad you guys do a lot of events
together. So we do
together.
stuff together. So the flags, they have a ton of flags because they're doing all these services. And like I said, Paul will get into all of that. So we sometimes will borrow their flags, especially for a parade. We use theirs. They need flags. They use ours. You know, we got to all kind of work together.
Which is great.
Which is how it should be.
But still, like, if people
want to donate, we are a nonprofit.
Okay.
So
do they contact you?
Please don't contact me. Not that I don't want to talk to anybody. I love to talk, and I love to talk to people. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk to you, and then it's going to fall through the cracks because life is a blur. We are on Facebook. You can connect through Facebook.
Okay. So we'll put your Facebook on here.
Yes.
Not yours, but
mine, but
the Indiana Fallen Heroes.
And I say it jokingly, you can contact me. You can contact me on Facebook because I'm the mouth, especially here in Lowell. I put it out that I need volunteers. We have tons of volunteers. You can contact me. And then I'm going to say, please go to our Facebook page, Indiana Fallen Heroes. We sell merchandise, like down at the Labor Day Festival on Saturday and Sunday before Labor Day. We sell T-shirts, a couple little merchandise things. You can support us that way. All the money that we make, you can make just a donation. And there's no amount too small or too large. You know, somebody's, hey, I'll give you $5. We'll take your $5 because that's going to put gas in a car or do something.
Gotcha.
But with that being said, all of the money that we raise goes back into this organization. None of us are paid. We are all volunteers.
So also too, like, let's say somebody has a family member that has passed away and they want to get on a placard. Same way, go through the Facebook?
They can, yes.
Okay.
Or they can reach out to myself or to any of our other board members. I would say, since we're talking about it, they can reach out to me.
Okay. Because you want to make them feel safe.
And if somebody contacts you,
yeah. I always tell
give them my cell phone.
They can always contact us to contact
us. Exactly. It's not like it's a secret. We go back to the war on terror, 9/11. A lot of people say, well, why don't you do Vietnam? Why don't you do World War II? We would love to, but we would need a fleet of semis.
Yeah, to be able to do all of them.
And thousands of volunteers. We just can't.
Right.
We can't. So
you had to have a date to start it from a point forward.
Right. And it was already started. No, that was already chosen.
So that was chosen already.
That was chosen. So we
it's
just
from 9/11 up.
9/11 up.
Okay.
We last year I think we did 40-ish events.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
You've moved up from 3 events to 40 events.
Yeah.
You guys are all volunteers.
Yep.
We can donate on, a couple different places.
Or get a hold of us, or we're happy to take the money.
Anybody wants to get their loved one on there, you can contact you or contact me to contact you.
Yep.
And any other important things you want to mention before we go.
We will always take the help. You do not need to ask if we need volunteers. Please just show up. We're never going to tell you no. We're never going to tell you to go home. Come sit with us. Even if it's a display where we set up the display and we sit there for 3 hours. Come hang out with us.
So one other thing then. So if somebody has an idea of if they wanted you to be at that event, they need to contact you guys too and saying, hey, we have an event in Indiana that we really think you would do great at.
Yes, and put in a request. Now, the thing is that we were just talking about it this weekend being at the Mini. We have an event, I think, every weekend between now and October 11th.
Well, especially since
It's
there's
crazy.
not a lot of
It's ridiculous.
volunteers.
Yeah.
If there was more
crazy.
volunteers, you could cover more events.
Exactly.
But right now, you are spread so thin,
Yeah.
you don't have enough volunteers.
And it's every weekend.
right.
And it's a lot.
Oh, I know, because
It's
if
a lot.
you and I ever go out to dinner, you're always like, oh, I can't do the
I can't. I'm
weekend.
busy. Got stuff going on. And it's a labor of love. It really is.
Yeah.
But it's helped us heal. It's helped others heal. And they say, I heard this statement and I thought it was super profound. And now I say it when I'm speaking at different things.
Yeah.
So the saying goes, they say the life of a soldier doesn't end on the day that they pass. It ends on the day that we no longer say their name and remember them. And that's deep.
It is very deep.
Like,
but,
that's
But that's
deep.
just like, I mean, you go back to, you just don't want to forget anybody.
Right. And I think too that especially none of us like war. None of us like war. But to think that somebody lost their life in vain for no reason at all, like it didn't matter.
Right.
That is the thing that a lot of families will say. Like, was it for nothing?
Well, I don't think anything's ever for nothing.
No, but that's what they worry about, is that it happened for nothing. So, so here in Lowell, anybody listening to this locally, Labor Day parade, we line up at the high school on the Route 2 side, in front. You cannot miss us.
No, you cannot
You
miss
cannot
it.
miss
and
us.
you're always in the beginning.
We are always at the beginning
now.
of the parade.
Yes.
Come out, join us, walk with us.
And be part of us.
Yes. There's no age limit. There's no requirements. Wear comfy shoes.
Yep.
Wear comfy shoes. It's a longer walk than you think.
And a lot of hills.
A lot of hills. You don't notice it when
think
you're
it
driving it. No.
But you
But when
walk it and it's up and down.
It is. And I mean, it's Labor Day. It's always going to be hot or raining. But come on out. You can wear your group. If you have a group, wear a t-shirt. If one year we had a church, they all had on the same t-shirt.
Yeah.
We encourage the football players. We want them to wear those jerseys. I want people to know who they are. Same thing with scouts or whoever.
Yep.
Join us. We would love to have you
Join
walk
us,
with
spread
us.
the news.
Yeah.
Donate.
We would love to have you. And I feel like, donating is important because we do have a lot of expenses. We're dragging a trailer down to Indy this past weekend.
Right.
There's a vehicle involved in that. All of us who go down, I went down on that, gas came out of my pocket. I'm not going to take money out of our organization to do this.
I'm not saying donate because you guys
No.
are begging for money.
No,
I'm just
but
saying that the more
there are
people,
expenses.
they are expenses. Yes.
And then sadly, we have to continue to make these placards as we hear of others who have passed. So we've been fortunate enough to work with some local printing companies who have helped us out financially on that. And they're not making any money on us. They're doing
Right.
it and they're charging
Just
us
doing
for
it out of their
stuff.
heart.
Yeah. And it's a lot of that. But the thing is come out and walk with us. And you'll be amazed because it's one thing to be standing there watching it and it kicks you in the feels. But when you walk it, it's a whole different, whoa. But it's good. I mean,
I know, it just makes it hits you.
It hits you in the feels.
hits
It
you.
does. It
does.
definitely does. But it's also really cool from both sides.
Well, I thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And then we'll learn a little bit more when Paul comes here because he'll give us
Because he's going to give you some of this too,
Yeah.
because it's all intertwined and
It is. But it's it's a very good intertwine.
Well, thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Joy to the World podcast. Be sure to follow us on Spotify and click that subscribe button on YouTube. Tune in next week to meet another person bringing joy to their world.